This story takes place outside of Chicago, Illinois. There was this older gentleman. He was driving one night on a rural highway outside of Chicago, and he said there was nothing but cornfields and a few houses here and there, but he was completely alone. He said there was no other cars on the road. So, he started to get bored. He turned on his radio. And as he's listening to his radio, he said, like the radio started to go haywire and it was changing stations by itself and it was turning off and on. And he had no clue as to what was happening. So all of a sudden he heard a put, 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 put sound and his car broke down. He managed to veer over into the shoulder and he gets on his phone. He calls a tow truck. Now, as he's sitting in his car, he said he heard a loud banging sound on the driver's side window. When he looks out the window, he sees a group of teenagers all wearing these black hoodies that are, covering their face to where he couldn't see them. And they are moving kind of erratically on the side of the vehicle. So he slightly rolls down his window and he's like, "Yeah, can I help you?" And he said one of these teenagers was like, "Give us a ride." And he's like, what are you talking about? Like, my car's broke down. And they're like, "Listen, man, give us a ride." And he said like they had this just weird, deep, kind of piercing voice. And he said, "No, get away from my car. Like, you guys need to leave now. The tow truck's coming. Like, there's going to be people here, so you need to back away." And he said after that, they started to get kind of angry and they were kind of like taunting him and calling him names and stuff like that and yelling at him and telling him to get out of the vehicle. And he just kept saying, "Get away from my car, get away from my car. Someone's coming." Well, all of a sudden, he said one of these teenagers jumps up on the hood of his car and starts bouncing up and down, and they're screaming and making these weird sounds. So he looks in his back seat and he finds like a tire iron and he goes out of his vehicle and he's like, "Look, get off my car right now. You kids need to leave. Like, get out of here, like, or there's going to be problems." And he said all of them sort of started huddling around him and trying to get close. And he said they just started mocking him and laughing. And one of them picked up rocks and started hitting him with these small little stones. And they told him, "You're all alone. You're out here all alone. Like, no one's going to hear you. No one's going to find you." And he started to get freaked out. He noticed, though, when he looked down, none of them were wearing any shoes. Like, they were barefoot, which was weird because there was snow on the ground. It was like freezing cold, yet they were all barefoot. He said one of them then approached him from the side. And when he turned, he kind of swung the tire iron. And as he swung, he said he looked and could see now this teenager's face. And he said, it just had almost like a pale white, rubbery looking skin with these solid black eyes. And he knew something was off. So he said he dropped the tire iron and he took off running as fast as he could. They started chasing after him and they were screaming and shouting, like throwing rocks at him. And he's like, for sure they're gonna get me. They're gonna get me. But he manages to find like a house. He runs up to the door. He starts banging on the door. This old man answers, and he says, like, "I'm being chased by these teenagers. Like, I need your help." So he said the guy went inside, grabbed a firearm, and he went out, and they started trying to find these teenagers. They couldn't find them anywhere. And he said the weird thing was when he got back to his vehicle and the guy was with him, they could not find any sort of footprints to show that like they were even there or which way they had went. So he got back in his car, and when the tow truck finally arrived, like, he was glad to be out of there. And he said he knew that what he encountered that day was not human.